Target loses $10 billion in 10 days as stocks fall following boycott over LGBTQ friendly kids clothing. So I thought this would be pretty interesting to check out. So Target has lost 10 billion in market valuation over the last 10 days as the popular retailer continues to face backlash over its pride-themed clothing line for children. A week ago, Wednesday, Target enjoyed its stock value at $160.96 a share, but following the calls to boycott the Minneapolis-based retailer over its Pride collection, the value plummeted and closed Friday at $138.93 a share. The nearly 14% drop in value for the blue chip stock roughly translates to a $10.1 billion loss in valuation to just $64.2 billion for Target, which has nearly 2,000 stores nationwide. The plummet stands as the retailer's lowest stock price in nearly 3 years, and the last time the company saw a drop nearly this big came in 2022 after the stocks equalized following an unprecedented surge during the COVID pandemic. Target, which has been caught in the middle of America's culture wars over gender, moved its Pride section in some southern stores away from the front last week after said displays were knocked over by protesters who also confronted workers. Now, here's also another thing, too, right? Does it make sense to have a Pride section in southern areas? Like, does that make any sense, like, at all? No, not really. So let's continue. The retailer also said it would remove items from the collection, but did not specify which ones. Among the ones that garnered the most attention were tuck friendly women's swimsuits that allow trans women who have not had gender affirming operations to conceal their genitalia, as well as rainbow themed children's clothing. While many have likened the conservative boycott against Target to that of Bud Light, which saw sales crash after partnering with the transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, Ted Cruz doubted the backlash against the retailer would be as impactful. Speaking on his podcast Friday, the Republican said that while multiple alternatives exist to replace Anheuser-Busch brands, the same is not so for Target. And the thing is, to my knowledge, there are just some super loyal Target shoppers. Like, they go to Target for basically everything, which I don't really understand. Maybe they just like the feel of the store a lot more. Maybe they just prefer it over something like a Walmart. Maybe it feels a little bit more nicer than a Walmart. Let's see. So he instead compared the retailer to Disney, which suffered backlash after speaking out against Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay law last year, but continues to be a financial giant. You can be annoyed at Disney, but if your kids really want to go to Disney World, that can be hard to say no to. There are not a lot of alternatives. There's Six Flags, but Disney World is a pretty unique offering, Cruz said. I guess I could kind of understand that point because there's a lot of people, just like with Target, will like they are like avid Disney goers or Disney buyers in the sense that they will go to specific Disney trips, they will go on Disney cruises, they will go on like staying like Disney hotels, they go specifically to Disney amusement parks, they will watch Disney movies, etc. Like they are like uber fans of Disney. So there's only one Snow White or Cinderella or Toy Story from Pixar. That is a difficult product for many people to give up permanently. The Texas politician said the efforts against Target could quickly wilt because historically, conservatives have typically been not very good at boycotts. And Target CEO Brian Cornell has defended the LGBTQ friendly merchandise, saying selling them was the right thing for society, and Target didn't immediately return a request for comment Sunday. The thing is, I never really understand why make products like political or like follow some sort of social aspect. It's just like, how about just sell a product that either solves someone's problems or that people just actually want, right? Like, why not just go there and try to make some good money? Like, I don't get why you got to have some sort of political backing of a product. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's just like it's just so tiring, really. Oh well, people are constantly commenting on this one. 1.4 thousand comments on this article. So the shareholders should be calling for wholesale resignations of the board of directors. The stupidity of glomming on to a demographic that is like a half of 1% of the population is a losing move. Even if a certain woke population is on board, it is not automatic that folks who resist such decisions are transphobic. They just totally resent having that pie shoved in their face or down their throats. Is that so hard to fathom? Live and let live, for crying out loud, otherwise go broke. If I can help it, I'll never buy from Target again. The thing is, there's so many people that will still buy from Target just because it's Target. I don't pay no attention to things being sold at any store that I am not interested in purchasing. I really don't see why people get so caught up and upset when they see these gender specific items being sold. If it doesn't directly affect me, then I could really care less. Everyone needs clothes, whether you're a woman or a man or a transgender person. Let people live their lives the way they choose. That's my model. Respect my space, and I will always return the same. May God bless you all. Interesting. Let's see. Target lost 10 billion in market value in 10 days. When will corporations learn to not to inject social activism into their companies and the advertising of products? You would think after what happened to Bud Light and AB, other companies would see it's not financially smart. The thing is, I also agree with that statement. It's like, why push so heavily into something that is going to put off a large portion of your potential consumer base, right? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, why would you? I guess the best way to put it, why would you have like any sort of like backing of very specific products for very specific people when your store is basically more so to the general public, right? But you're offering products of a very slim potential customer base where it doesn't really make sense, right? Because the people that are really going to be buying those products are what? Either people who fit that mentality where they have the dysphoria, or they have friends or family members that have that and they want to get something for them. But that is a very small percentage of the total population, which I don't understand. Why are you focusing on products like that? Like, it'd be one thing, like, you could sell products to that consumer base if they're very high ticket products, right? Which is why those doctors, plastic surgeons, whatever, are doing those whole surgeries on them because they're making what, like 50K, 100K, up to like $1 million over the lifetime of that individual. So the lifetime value of that customer could be potentially $1 million, which, like, in terms of like making money for like a business or individual, that would make more sense than going the surgery route because you are focusing on a very specific customer base that will have to pay a lot of money to go and do what they want to do, right? So a very high ticket product for a very niche customer, right? But you're focusing so much on like transgender type of clothing when you can't really make that much margin on it. So like, why, like, okay, like, it just doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why would a business do this when money wise it doesn't even make sense, right? Like, financially speaking, it doesn't really make sense for them to really push it or really even allot any store space for it. Like it'd be one thing if they had it like on their like online store because then they would be able to make more margins on those products. But having it in store literally doesn't even make sense because there's just not enough customers in terms of foot traffic to justify even putting these things inside the store, right? Like I mean, what who knows? Wait, what is the average? I mean, this kind of like depends, I guess, on the. Let's see, average daily customers of Target. Let's see. Hmm. Okay, let's check this one out. So meet the typical Target shopper, a millennial suburban mom with a household income of $80,000 by Business Insider. Okay? This is the typical Target shopper. That is like their ideal customer. Why would Target have products that are specifically towards transgenders when their ideal customer, right? Their ideal customer ID, like basically the makeup of what their customer is a suburban millennial mom. Does that make any sense? Like it literally does not make any financial sense for Target to even do this. And so they basically crash their stock value by getting involved into something politically speaking or society speaking for literally no reason. Like there's literally no reason for Target to do this. Let's see. So Numerator found that Target's typical shopper is a white suburban mother between 35 and 44 years old. She typically has some college or a 4-year degree with a household income of $80,000. And the typical customer visits Target every other Saturday or so, about 23 trips per year, and picks up 7 products for a total cost of about $50 per trip, Numerator found. And Target enjoys higher than average customer loyalty when compared with other major retailers, coming in second place behind Walmart. And the brand also adds a new customer for each one that it loses. Wow. Now that is interesting. And again, like this just doesn't make any sense. And I think Target is going to continuously be like losing more and more and more stock value and just money in general if they keep trying to push a political aspect to their product. Like it doesn't make sense. You are a store for basically a millennial soccer mom. Why are you getting involved into politics? Like that doesn't make any sense. Why are you focusing on selling Pride products when it makes no sense? Right? Like this is basically the same issue with the whole Bud Light thing. Like for Bud Light, why are you trying to focus on like a tiny niche consumer base when the majority of your consumer has nothing to do with that, right? The majority of your customers has nothing remotely related to the transgendered group, right? It makes no sense. You're selling cheap beer for basically like blue collar dudes, right? It doesn't make sense to sell that to transgenders for Bud Light, right? Same thing with Target. How does it make sense to focus like literally very expensive like foot traffic space, like aisle space for products that your main customers have literally nothing to do with, right? Why would white millennial soccer moms want to deal with anything related to tucking or the transgender clothing products? Like that literally doesn't make any sense. Like maybe they can end up having like family members or friends that might want some of that stuff. But again, for the most part, you're a soccer mom that basically buys from Target every other Saturday. Let's be generous, every Saturday. You're not going to be buying a whole bunch of transgender products when you're a millennial white soccer mom. Like, you just aren't. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. By the way, subscribe for more news commentary, financial commentary. Stay tuned for more. And if you want to learn how to get out of debt, go to 40unbox.com.